Hi, everyone, and welcome to this edition of the Jitsi Community Call. Now, we have a special announcement to make this time, and I'm going to let Brian start.
Cool, thank you. So I'm very happy and proud to announce that after a lot of hard work by the team, the new bridge has been merged into master. So we're very stoked about that. There was a post on the community forum about this for anyone who didn't happen to catch that. We have deployed the new bridge to beta.meet.jit.si, and we're running it there, and we'll be running it there for a little while we address some of the known issues again that are listed in the post, some stuff that we didn't consider blockers for the merge, but do consider blockers before we push to this environment, which is Meet Jitsi. So we'll be working on those, and I would consider the code at this point for anyone who's interested in running it kind of like a release, probably not quite yet release candidate because we have a couple known things. So I would not deploy this to any production environment yet, just as we haven't deployed it to Meet Jitsi yet. But as we finish up some of these other issues and get things a bit more stable, I'll make another announcement when we consider things production stable and we deploy to our production. And if anybody has any questions, the community is great, or here we can do some during the Q&A session, but I just wanted to let everybody know that. So thanks for the patience.
Brian, do you want to talk a little bit about the remaining things before production?
Yeah, so we have a couple. There's really just a couple small things on the community thing. So there's like a couple known ramp up bugs around some corner case scenarios. We also have a limitation for meetings with Octo around the endpoint IDs. And I'd have to pull it up. Boris, George, anything else I'm forgetting? You know offhand?
That's what I have in mind.
Okay, so it's small stuff, but we also are, there could be things. The reason we have it deployed to beta is that although we've done testing, we don't know what we don't know yet. So we want to make sure that gets some bake time there with some more usage to see if anything comes up. So the known list is small. We just want to make sure we get some more bake time on it to give a chance for anything we don't know about to crop up, so we can make sure that gets addressed before we push it, before we consider it fully stable.
This is all great. Congratulations to the entire team. This was a very, very significant project. It involved rewriting and replacing some of the most core parts of the Jitsi architecture. So the team navigated a ton of complexities and tricky parts to get it to this point. And I'm super, super happy about how we've landed. So thank you, Brian, Boris, George, everyone for participating in this. Damien, who helped a lot in the final stages of the packaging as well. All right. Would anyone else want to add updates for the past couple of weeks?
I can. We switched to an Anycast endpoint for all of our Bosch a couple weeks ago from Jitsi, and it seems to be acting about like we'd expect. So no real performance decrease in that, which is positive.
Right. Yes. Thank you, Aaron. This is just for everyone. This is for the Meet Jitsi deployment that we're currently using for this community call. And if anyone out there is running on AWS architecture, you might want to consider that as a validation point that using Anycast with Jitsi for the load balancing part on the signaling service is a go. It does seem to work for us.
Maybe you can go a bit into why that's advantageous, Aaron?
Yeah, so the way that we end up running our geographic distribution is in shards, wherein basically previously we had been using Route 53 latency-based routing to determine which geo to put any particular participant. The issue there is that if any particular any particular resource in a particular region goes down to the point where we don't want to route traffic through that load balancer anymore, DNS is not a great place to do that because all the caching means we don't have a deterministic way to flip the switch. So with the Anycast routing, the way it works is you basically point it at all of the load balancers in all of the regions, and Amazon will use their health to determine whether or not to route traffic to them. The other benefit is that it is the route actually goes immediately into the closest POP that Amazon runs, which means we aren't routing traffic all the way through the public internet, all the way to the load balancer, but instead going immediately into Amazon's network and using their ostensibly better network to route to the load balancer.
Thank you, Aaron. Anyone else from the team wants to add an update from the past couple of weeks?
I could say something.
Yeah, go ahead, so.
As I've been working on, you hinted it last time, and we now have the first incarnation of low bandwidth mode. There's more work to be done, but in this first pass, basically, low bandwidth mode means that you participate in the conference with audio only, but if any participants start sharing their screen, we also enable that one screen. And if there's more than one participant sharing their screen, we enable one at a time based on either your selection or, based on your selection, as long as they are sharing actively their screen. We have this both for desktop and mobile, and we will continue making some tweaks to it before it makes it into a release. But I think for those who are lurking into the commit, you may have seen some stuff related to this making it in. And that's all I got.
So none of this is yet testable on beta, right? You have to use the code.
No, you can. It's actually on beta. Yeah, good point. This first iteration landed already in master, and because beta pulls from master every single time, it should already be there. And likewise, if you build mobile apps off master.
Well, I think someone is very happy about this. Yes. These are all low bandwidth users. All right, anyone else? Damien, Pavel, Lenny, anything you want to add here?
Maybe it's worth, and Damien, maybe you want to talk more about this, but I also just wanted to add that with the new bridge, we're altering the version numbering scheme that we use for the bridge, and also kind of will be in the future making some tweaks to the way we tag releases and stuff. So if you see in the tags for the video bridge, you'll see a 2.0 in there. And the bridge versioning scheme will be like a semantic version moving forward, and there'll be some other changes there. But if anyone wants to watch any of the tags in the bridge, just a heads up that that'll be different.
Yeah, so basically we'll change all the Debian packages we have to the same scheme. Till now, the incremented version number was something that was stored on Jenkins. From now on, it will be the major minor tag, and everything will be coming from the describe command, the number of commits. So basically the incremented number will be restarted once we bump major or minor version. And there will be less tags in the repos. It will be more readable, more searchable, easy to navigate and search. Other Boris remind me something that it's for those that are interested in installing the new bridge. It's very easy once you have a working environment of after you have installed Jitsi Meet meta package, the Jitsi Meet package, and it will install all the dependencies with the old bridge. We still not depend on the new one, but you just need to remove Jitsi Meet, the meta package, and then just install Jitsi Video Bridge 2, and everything should be working with the new bridge. It's very easy and convenient to do that. That's it.
All right. Thank you very much, Damien. At this point, I'm going to open the microphone for questions and comments from the floor. Community, it's your turn.
Hi, this is Ben. Hi, I have
Hi,
a
Ben.
question. So I opened an issue on libjitsi Meet 2 weeks ago about the bridge channel. I wonder if anyone has already had a chance to maybe look at this. So from our tests, when the connection to JVB gets interrupted for any purpose, for any reason between the bridge channel and the JVB, then the bridge channel does not recover the connection in bridge channel JS. So I just wonder if anyone had a chance to look at this.
Are you using WebSockets or the WebRTC data channel?
This is the WebRTC data channel.
Okay, I don't think we've ever seen that go down actually without ICE going down. And when ICE goes down, we just do a full restart.
Yeah, I think I saw generally the what's called abstract overlay or something that basically does a full window or iframe restart. Is that so? I see that when so this is a manual test where I interrupt the connection to XMPP. In that case, that full restart happens. When I just manually interrupt the connection to the JVB port, the data channel port, then it gets sort of into this bad state where it does not recover. But you're saying in the real world that would probably not happen. Is that correct?
What we've seen is that the only condition under which the data channel closes, and like if you close the filter or the port, the whole ICE connection will go down, and this should trigger that full restart.
Yes, so I blocked the port manually via IP tables, and the bridge channel did not recover. But I can try and see if maybe I need to. Well, if I briefly interrupt it, then it just doesn't seem to recover. I guess maybe then because ICE does not. Maybe they're on different sort of schedules essentially, and so if briefly the data channel gets interrupted, it seems like the bridge channel JS does not recover from what I've been able to test.
So you're seeing audio and video recover, but not data channel? Is that what you're saying?
I think so. Definitely bridge channel JS does not recover. I mean, because there's no recovery code even that would do that. There is a recovery code apparently for WebSockets, but for the data channel, there's no recovery code right now in bridge channel JS, from what I've seen.
Okay, I see your ticket now. So I'm going to read that more carefully. You've included logs, so I'll go over these and I'll try to repro, and I'll let you know in the ticket. Does that work for you?
Sure. Thank you very much.
In the meantime, so bridge channel you already said you were using SCTP data channels, right? Ben?
Yeah, we are using the data channel for the bridge channel. Yeah.
So we strongly recommend that you use WebSockets instead. There's no reason actually for anyone to prefer, or at least we haven't come across a reason why someone would prefer using the data channels as compared to the WebSocket which also connects you into the bridge and has the same functionality. But we have experienced various sorts of crashes with USR SCTP, which we haven't been able to resolve. And it is also my assumption that, especially if this was a bridge channel only traffic, which I'm not sure how that would could possibly go in there, but you might not have that issue anymore. So there are multiple reasons why you should go to WebRTC socket, sorry, to WebSocket data channel, WebSocket, yes, data channels rather than WebRTC data channels in our implementation.
Oh, okay. That's really good to know. Is that somewhere in the docs? Just curious.
Yes, there's docs in the video bridge repo that that should say how to configure it. I'm not sure if they documented fully, but I'll look and set some links in the ticket as well.
Okay, great to know. Thank you.
Quick question. I see that. Yeah, no, I was just gonna ask if there are multiple bridges in this instance, because I see in the logs that it's moving to a different bridge or doing a transport replace.
So in this case, there was only one bridge registered with Chacofo. So I don't know, maybe because of the IP table sort of drop that it thinks that it should go to another bridge, but there was really no other bridge available.
Okay.
Yeah.
Is there any disadvantage to using WebSockets rather than the WebRTC data channel?
Not that we're aware of, not in this architecture. WebSockets are obviously significantly harder, or if at all possible, to connect in a peer-to-peer architecture where you don't want to have traffic going through the server. But in this case, the data channel goes to a server anyway. And now, obviously, one can be routed over TCP, or sorry, UDP, whereas the WebSockets would always go over TCP. But since this is not actually audio video traffic, it is extremely unlikely that you would actually suffer any of the consequences there. So in other words, I don't believe there are any reasons why you would want to use WebRTC WebSockets in this case. Sorry, WebRTC data SCTP channels in this case.
Got it.
They're doing. Maybe we should make it the default in the quick install, because that's not the case, right, Damian?
I agree.
Oh.
I agree. We should make it the default.
So this is Paul. I had a sort of question somewhat related to data. So I've been running into issues on the React Native side with an error that says data channel not opened. And I don't know if there's maybe there's some other error that's causing this. I did notice in the community forums the last couple of weeks somebody mentioning a similar error, and it's consistent. Like it sort of gets stuck in a state, and it seems to be around opening, sending some sort of stats, emit stats. Unfortunately, it died, so I don't have it in front of me. But so I was curious if there's been some change related to that, or maybe it could be our fault. As we're trying to make a few tweaks
specifically, or at any time.
Just when it doesn't even it gets stuck in the state. So it doesn't even get past really past a certain point. I think it does connect, but then it's just error. I think it's constantly trying to send a bunch of stats.
Yeah, we send stats over. But this is interesting because we haven't seen it, at least I'm not aware of it. Now, granted, when you switch to WebSockets, we're not using it on mobile either, but we used to use it on mobile, and this doesn't ring a bell.
Paul, it is, sorry to interrupt you. I'm just going
No
to
worries.
say, we're likely not going to support those data channels too much. I don't believe we even support them in the new bridge. So they're likely going away. So before we go and spend time on this, I would really invite you to just try with WebSockets.
Yeah, no, yeah, that's kind of my, so if we switch to WebSockets, this issue should go, because we've actually run into a bunch of issues related to this. Yeah, I mean, over the last several months, just sort of kind of what Ben mentioned in terms of retrying if a data channel goes down. And so any message we send, like any bridge channel message or endpoint message, it'll just, once we switch the config, it will just, that everything should be transparent, correct? It just will be WebSockets and everything will go through JVB.
Correct. Yeah.
Yeah, pretty much. And there's retrying logic in place, so even if it gets interrupted, it will be reconnected.
Great.
Cristo added that, I believe, so kudos to him.
Okay. Yeah, well, that makes it much easier, yeah, because that was my main, I mean, the only other issue we've run into on the React Native side is just getting the debugger, the React Native debugger, the actual Electron app versus the web page. It seems to very easily get into an inconsistent state, but I think this is just React Native, not Jitsi.
Yeah, the debugging story is unfortunately unfortunate. So other than judiciously placed print statements, I'm not sure how much. I only half joke, because the thing when you run the Electron app is that you're actually not running your code through the same JavaScript virtual machine that will run your code in your production app. You're running it through V8 in the Chrome thing. So things are different. Like suddenly there are new globals and other crap. So I really don't recommend it, because it just, to me, doesn't really add anything. It's as slow as a dog, and it makes almost anything related to this that is CPU heavy. It's almost impossible to observe anything because of how hard you're hitting the thing. So for instance, not too long ago, I wanted to measure if there was a difference in performance with the change we made. And what I did was I built a release version of the Android app, but you mark it as debuggable. And then you can use the built-in Android Studio profiler. And you can see what the threads are doing, what the memory usage is in real time. It's gotten a lot better, so it's pretty cool. And then, for example, you can join a conference, mute your video, see how the CPU usage changes after it stabilizes, goes up and down when you join and stuff, and then it sort of plateaus. And then you start doing changes and seeing how it reacts, pun intended. So that is at least one way I do things.
Okay, that's really good to know, because when I first started down the React Native debugging road, I spent a while chasing some bug until I finally realized that it wasn't even in the Jitsi code base. It was just some exception that was getting thrown in the React Native debugger. So yeah, it seems so. Okay, so you recommend just avoiding it entirely. So do you also avoid the default? You just avoid all debugging.
Well, the thing is, when you turn on the web debugging, or either in the standalone app or the Chrome tab, the effect is the same.
Right.
You're bypassing the thing, and well, right now it's gotten a little bit better, but in the past, the Android version of JSC, the JavaScript interpreter that runs this thing. It was so old that it was so different from your even have map or set, for example. You had to polyfill them. So it was so different that they didn't make sense. Now it's a much more recent version, but still it's a different beast, and it's too slow for this kind of application. I believe that if you're doing any other kind of filling in some forms and moving things around in a more static app, yes, it probably helps a lot. But in this case, when you have your CPU burning while it decodes video or whatever, it's a lot harder to do stuff. Or at least I couldn't find a better way to do it, let's say. There might be.
Okay, yeah, it's good. That's really helpful to know, because I think that's been the chief way we're trying to debug things. And so, yeah, I guess we'll take that out of our flow. And so you can still see debug statements even if you don't use either of those React Native debuggers. If you do like a console log, those still.
Yeah, all of that you see, and if you're attached with Xcode, you see them in the console. If you're attached with Android Studio, you will see them in the logcat tab, and you can filter by application, and there you see only the logs of our stuff.
Okay, great. That's really helpful. Great, thank you.
I'll just throw out there, the new bridge does still support SB data channels. I know Emil mentioned that he wasn't sure if it did or not, but
oh shit,
it does, and it uses a more recent version, updated version of user SCTP. I don't know whether that would make any difference, but just throwing it out there.
It doesn't change the fact that we're not using them in production, and likely will be supporting them less and less in the future. So.
Yep.
Cool. That's good to know, though.
Guys, may I ask a quick question?
Go ahead.
It's Peter. Sorry, I have to leave early, so I just normally I try to wait till the very end. On the plus side, the video conference left worked, so for us to be able to superimpose another form when the person leaves, and if they want to leave some feedback that is related to the meeting. So that was very helpful. But on the other side, I had sort of a bad experience using meet.jitsi last Friday, and I wonder if anybody has any idea about this. There was an audio issue, and it was kind of strange. There were only 3 of us on the call, and we just used meet.jitsi /AV1. Okay, was the name of the room, and the persons 1 and 2 could hear each other, but person 3 could only hear person 2. And it was very strange, you know.
Were they all web participants, or were any of them dial-in participants?
No, they were all web.
Okay, that's good to know. Thank you.
And then I was number 1. Somebody else was number 2, and number 3. So number 3 could only hear number 2. They couldn't hear me. And then when I tried logging out and then coming back in, and then now I was the 3rd one, and nobody could. I couldn't hear the first person, so it was very strange.
Could you see them? Could you see them in the conference? Like, did you see the participants listed, or did you see yourself as alone in the conference?
No, I could see them, and I could hear them. I could hear them, both of them, but they couldn't hear me if I came in as the 3rd person. Actually, the 2nd person could hear me, but the 1st person couldn't.
What browser were you using?
I was using Chrome. But the other person had the same problem.
Could you please post the link to that meeting in the chat here so that we can look at the logs as well?
Yeah. I guess I could do that. Let's just double check.
And if you could just add the approximate time so that we could look up the because Because
It
that would
was
have
at
the
10
information.
a.m.
10 a.m. What
Yeah,
time
it was
zone?
at Eastern time, Eastern Daylight Time, 10 a.m.
US?
That's Canada. Well, it's Toronto, Canada.
Okay.
Let me
10
just
a.m.
double
You
check
said
what
Davy
that is.
1. Yeah, just if you could just spell the Davy
AV1.
1 thing. Oh,
So it
AV1.
would be A. Yeah, A as in Apple, V as in Victor, 1.
Oh, it's the codec. Okay. So, yes, we're going to meet Jitsi AV1 around
Yep.
10 a.m. Eastern American time.
On Friday. Yeah. The other thing is I've
Okay, because
noticed
that sort of, yeah.
Sorry, go ahead.
Well, I was going to say that this is the that sort of audio islands is one of the issues that we are relentlessly chasing, and that might be a good. Actually, we never, Yana or anyone else, did we ever end up implementing the call fail upon offer answer failure?
You
Maybe
mean
Krista did.
where we are reloading?
Yes.
Yeah, I think that should be implemented and deployed.
Okay. Could you Krista, please note down the link to AV1 from Friday? You said, Peter.
Yes, I'll put it on here right now. So it would be
this last Friday, August whatever it was, 10th or something. August 9th.
That's correct.
Yeah. We're going to look at that. Thank you for reporting it, Peter.
Yeah, I'm surprised by that because I mean, right now we've got lots of people on this call, and it seems like everybody can hear everybody, and I've never had a problem before.
It's not necessarily related to the number of people. It's just something that would be triggered by certain things sometimes. So.
Oh, okay. And then also sometimes I've noticed in a couple of meetings that the video, and if the person is using Wi-Fi, I'm on high-speed internet, so they can see my picture, my video, no problem. But sometimes I only see them as a still image, and sometimes even just black and white still image. Is it very sensitive to the bandwidth or the internet connection?
Yes, and it's not necessarily bandwidth. There are other things that play here. It would be delays and packet loss and that sort of stuff. So the black and white thing is an effect we add ourselves to show you that the video is frozen and it's not updating. It just means that the decoder is not getting enough information to decode new frames, and to show you that you are not just staring at someone who's not reacting to what you're saying, but there's actually a freeze. We make that black and white.
I understand. But is there anything that the user can do is there anything that the user can do proactively to try to, other than having a high-speed internet connection?
Yes,
is there anything that the user can do?
Sorry. Not really. No. Not really. At one point, we were considering making their just giving them the ability to throttle the quality that they send, but we never really implemented that. Aaron, you were going to say something?
Okay.
Yeah, I was going to suggest that one of the things they can do is to turn off the video that they send so that they are at least no longer trying to overwhelm their outbound pipe with video. The other thing is to look at what other consumers on their network, if they're able to control it, are potentially using a lot of their network. So for instance, if you're streaming Netflix during your meeting, maybe turn that off, which is, it's common sense, but a lot of people won't even think of that when they're having problems.
Oh, that's good to know. That's good to know. So if I want people to refer to a video, maybe the better thing would be that I send the video to them in advance, or ask them to download it in advance, and they can be watching it that way as opposed to streaming while they're on a call.
I mean, well, it all depends on your constraints and what your experience is. So yeah, if you see that people are struggling for connectivity, also Jitsi has this ability to collaboratively watch a YouTube video, so you can just play it real time for them, and then they would be retrieving it everyone would be retrieving it directly off of YouTube, rather than someone streaming it to
That's
the
with
other.
the share screen while you're
No, that's
is that
share a YouTube video.
Okay, I saw that option. Okay, I'll check that out. Okay,
That
one
doesn't
last
work
thing
on mobile,
before
by the way.
Got it. Okay, one last thing before I go, just to let you know, I tried that blur background, and that just caused everything to go extremely slow. So
Yep. That's why it's
forgot
beta.
about that.
I forgot
Okay.
whether we ever added the beta label there, but it's
Yeah, you did.
We do know that it's extremely power CPU consuming at this point, and we do plan to add a few improvements there. So please bear with us. But yes, that's
And
known
just
problem.
an idea, while I think of it, for future development, possibly, I don't know if it's even possible, but it would be kind of revolutionary, is if you could simulate any background picture or video, just like they do in film or TV using green screen. I don't know.
Yeah, there are other platforms out there that do that today, actually. We intentionally didn't do it just because we're not really sure. Maybe it would be good to replace it with your desktop so that you can be showing stuff off of your desktop. That might be interesting. But yeah, we'll think about it.
Yeah. Anyway, that's not important now. So anyway, thanks, guys. I gotta go. Talk to you soon.
Thank you, Peter. Anyone else?
Yeah, I have a question. Hey guys. Yeah, I heard of growl VM. Has anyone tried to compile the Java servers of Jitsi with growl VM compiler to improve performance?
That sounds like a no.
Okay.
What is the expected?
So I sent a link. It's a project from Oracle, and yeah, it just compiles JVM applications and also other applications to more native code, and improves the startup performance, the performance overall, memory usage, and all this stuff. So maybe it will be great to have this in the Jitsi project. But I never tried to use it, so I just heard of it because I'm not a Java developer.
I think that's something.
You have binaries compiled for this? Sorry, go ahead, Bor.
So I just took a quick look. It looks like another JVM implementation that is supposed to be more optimized for certain things. I think that's certainly something to play with. I don't know if all of our code will just run on this. And then even if it does, we really don't know whether it would have any better performance or not. Something to play with, but our team hasn't so far.
Okay, so maybe in the future.
Yes, and if you end up playing with it, we'd be happy to hear your results.
All right.
And in particular, if you can, if you do end up playing with it and you see things like how to make sure that heap dumps and stack traces and things like that are still accessible, I was looking into that, and it seems like they're slightly different. So that would be another place to be looking if we're ever going to actually use this. Thanks for bringing this to our attention.
All right. Thank you all too.
Any other questions from the community?
Hi. I'm from France. I just wanted to talk about Jitsi and YouTube. We use it only with this with YouTube. We have no knowledge about programmation or all that stuff. You understand? We are final consumer, and we use Jitsi just because YouTube doesn't work anymore with Google Hangouts. You know.
We do, yes.
Okay. Is there someone on your team that who speak French, generally speaking?
Right, but maybe would you like to ask your question?
Yes. For example, it seems that if someone goes on the come on the live, he can kick off anybody from the live stream.
So anyone in a Jitsi meeting, and this is independent of live streaming, can indeed kick out anyone else, which is by design. So our suggestion there is that you make sure that you only invite people who actually have an interest in the meeting, especially in the case of the live streaming. You are supposed to send the live streaming URL to the mass of participants and only have a panel of trusted participants on the conference. Would that solve your problem?
Yes, it makes sense, of course, and it's yes, I understand. I just ask you this question to know if there will be some new improvements about this problem on your on Jitsi in the future. That's all I understand. I understand
exactly what the problem is.
The problem is that when you use Jitsi with YouTube, on YouTube you have a lot of what we call trolls. You understand? And it's quite.
So to be very clear, people on the live stream, people that watch the live stream, cannot have any interference with the Jitsi conference. There is no way someone watching the live stream can kick out someone on the Jitsi meeting. That is not possible.
Okay, I understand. May I ask some other question, or do I have to wait? Or
of course.
Okay.
No, go ahead.
You know, you can use only one microphone at the time. Microphone for speaking. If you plug a guitar on a USB, you have to switch on the.
Am I the only one who stopped hearing?
No, it looks like we lost him as a participant.
Yeah, we lost him.
Lazarus, are you here? Hey, Lazarus, are you here? Do you hear us? Maybe any other questions in the meantime?
Okay.
Go ahead, Nathan.
I don't have any questions. I just want to say thanks for the updates. I've been just listening in and gathering what I needed to. But I just want to say thanks.
Well, thank you for your kind words.
I will ditto that thanks, and we admire your patience and doing this. It's great.
Well, thank you, and thank you for using our work and for giving us feedback. This really matters a lot to us. So thanks for that.
Yeah, I have another question.
All right.
Is there any plan to use semantic versioning for Jitsi or Jitsi Meet, libjitsi Meet, and so on?
Brian or Damien, would you like to take that?
Yes. So basically, we're moving currently all the libraries that we use, for example, oh, they're in the Maven repo and they're snapshot timestamps. We're moving that to releases and using the Maven version that is there with the Git hash, so it's easier to match the library to source code. And then the Debian packages, as we already mentioned. For example, the old JVB had just implemented version, and that was all. So we're moving to 2.0 something. Any particular
Jitsi meet and libjitsi meet.
libjitsi meet. The GTMeet package already has this kind of versioning. Well,
I can tell you why I'm asking. Because I'm using libjitsi for my application, and then I updated libjitsi, and then everything wasn't working anymore. I got a lot of errors and so on, and then I had to update I think Gigazi. So I updated just everything from Jitsi, and then it was working again. So there was a breaking change somehow. And I didn't notice this because there is no semantic versioning. So I can't see if there is a breaking change or not.
Well, is that really the reason, or was it that you didn't have an immediate and easy to tell connection between the various components?
Yeah, everything was working. Then I just updated libjitsi and then everything was broken. Then I updated the Docker containers.
I'm just saying that. I'm just saying that semantic versioning doesn't sound like the thing that would solve your specific problem. And it's more around the fact that you need a better way to tell what version of one component can work with another version of a different component, right?
Yeah, also true. But I think
so
both can be combined.
Damien, don't we already stamp collections of packages that work together?
Yeah, we do.
But we're not doing anything like that for the Docker, Docker images.
Yeah, the Docker images are tagged the same way like Jitsi.
Yeah, we pull from stable repo, so it should be a known working set. But what Paul really means is that even if you have a working set, you don't know if your application is going to break because there is no indication telling you that any backwards incompatible change has been made. Yes, all the versions may work with each other, but that doesn't include your application, which is built on top of libjitsi.
Was that
Paul?
the case there? It's not Paul, actually.
Yeah, I think so, yeah.
So your application, which was not Jitsi, some other third application was what was fading here?
No, I'm implementing, I've implemented own Jitsi client by using libjitsi. So, and I'm using the Docker images from the Docker repository and so on. So then I just use the Docker images. Also, my entire deployment is open source, so you can see it in the pull request. And yeah, I just updated libjitsi, and then it just fails. So I also created an issue, but I closed this issue again after I updated the Docker images to the latest version, to the latest stable version.
Okay,
so I just rebuilt them.
So this really is a case of components working together, then.
Yeah.
It's not.
I also checked the code of libjitsi, and it was breaking at a point what was changed recently. So
So Damien, would you like to talk a little bit about the scheme that we currently have where we tag projects that are supposed to work together? And I know we don't do that for Docker, but.
So yeah, currently when there is a Jitsi meet meta package build, it goes. This is the meta package is a collection of versions of Jikofu, JVB, and Jitsi meet. It goes in all the repos and makes a tag with that version. And this is an easy way to match those versions to be sure that that combination is something that is tested and it is working. And I'm confused to explain this because we were on a path to change that. So yeah.
So the meta package does not include Jitsi. So in this instance, this wouldn't help actually. So I'm wondering if there's something we can do about including Jitsi and maybe Jibri and any other components in the meta package, even if they're not installed, at least to know the versions that we use. If we do that, would that help?
I guess this should help, yeah.
But while explaining it, I have the feeling that in your app, you're not sourcing libjitsi, right? Or you're embedding it in your app.
What do you mean with sourcing?
So right now, when you open Jitsi Meet, Jitsi, for example, this deployment, it will go on the web and will fetch libjitsi meet from your deployment. And in your case, you had a deployment, but you were using some other version of libjitsi meet, which is not sourced from the Docker images.
Yeah, I'm not using the web the web Docker image because I have my own front end. And what I'm doing is I have a package
Is it a
JSON.
web front end?
Yeah, it's a web front end. It's React front end. And
yeah, so the way we use libjitsi meet there is that we just use the one that's deployed on the server rather than packaging it. So you would have to basically literally just script source that one from the Docker container rather than packaging it as a single, as part of your NPM as packages in your app. That's what Damien's referring to.
Okay, so I have to run a Docker container just for this one JavaScript file. That sounds a bit crazy. No, you use
the one Docker.
Yeah, because I'm not using it, so I'm not using the Jitsi Meet front end.
And you're not using the Jitsi Meet backend, right? You're using your own JVBs deployed in your own cluster.
Yeah, exactly.
So as long as you keep your versions consistent, that should be enough. And the fact that then you are providing your own copy of libjitsi meet means you're doing the same thing that we're doing on meetjitsi.
Okay, so always when I update the libjitsi meet, I should also update the Docker containers to the same version.
So you have two instances of libjitsi meet then. There's the one that you ship with the app, and there's the one that's on your servers, right?
No, there's just one in my app. So what I'm doing is I have a package JSON, and there I wrote libjitsi meet in, and then GitHub _ and then jitsi / libjitsi meet, and then the hash of the version. So the tag.
What you can do is every time we push to Docker Hub, I tag all the volumes with the stable version number. And this stable version number is tagged across all repos. So if you go into the libjitsi-meet tags, you will see that there is one called like jitsi-meet/stable dash and then a 4-digit number, I think. And that 4-digit number is the identifier that ties everything together.
All right.
So if you
I understand.
you can put that in your package JSON, and that way you will have the same libjitsi-meet version in your client application that matches the infra you have deployed with the Docker setup.
All right. Understand. Thanks.
All right. So I want to check if the person that was asking the questions about live streaming is back. I want to make sure that we address those, but he doesn't seem to be here. So we are running at time at this point. Thank you everyone for joining, and see you again in a couple of weeks. Have a great week. Cheers.
Thanks a lot. Have a good one.
Yeah,
See
cheers.
everyone. Bye-bye.